So friends, let's go for a walk together one more time, and let's talk about the third kind of iteration of my favorite sermon or sermon series that I've given here at Springfield Heights. I was thinking about this today, and I was going through some of my sermons, and I came across a sermon that I did on the book of Ecclesiastes, and I just remember just how much I enjoyed preaching about Ecclesiastes and this one word in Hebrew, hevel, and how we translate it in our Bibles oftentimes as vanity. You know, everything is vanity, says the Kohelet, the teacher in the book of Ecclesiastes, but how that word can also just be described as vapor, as something that just disappears, that we can't really grab a hold of, something that at some points can also be foul-smelling, because we know that there is foul-smelling vapor, and some vapor can be poisonous and dangerous. And I was just reflecting on that again, and how much of our lives is focused on chasing things that are fleeting. So much of our lives is focused on chasing things that will go away or that we can't hold on to, accumulating things that we know don't bring us the full satisfaction that we need, and yet we chase after it and after it and after it. You know, in my sermon back then, I was reflecting on my 2-year-old daughter who had been this little baby, and that helplessness had gone, and she turned into the sassy 2-year-old. And now I'm looking back, and she's 6 years old, and life has moved past, and you can't hold on to some of these moments. And this is the question, I think, that we are asked by the book of Ecclesiastes, is whether we are trying to chase after things that are meaningless, that we think provide us with enough meaning for our lives to help us live lives that are good, but instead what they're doing is they're making us focus on things that are not good for us. They make us chase, and our whole life is spent in the chase instead of being spent in the presence of that which isn't fleeting, that which doesn't have to be chased, which is God and God's grace and God's salvation for us. So today I think is a very short little video, as the end is approaching for me at Springfield Heights Mennonite Church. I'm looking forward next Wednesday to say goodbye in a video, and this Sunday there will be a little farewell here at church. But I just wanted to kind of have this as my last Wednesday devotional. This thought and idea that we spend so much of our life chasing after things that are fleeting, that are vapor, that are dust. But that there's one thing, at least one thing, that we don't have to chase after, and that's God, because God has come after us. God has sent His Son Jesus Christ after us. God takes the initiative. God meets us. God seeks us out. And that relationship is not just something that disappears. It's not just dust. It's not just vapor. It's not something that we chase after that will never give us satisfaction. No, that relationship is what forms us and what makes us into who we were supposed to be, into who God created us to be. My friends, that's the invitation for all our lives. So much of our lives is spent in this pursuit of things that aren't healthy for us, things that will eventually disappear. But what does a life look like when it's lived in the fullness of God's love and grace and mercy? And that's the invitation for all of us. Have a blessed week. May God's presence go with you. May you experience God's love and grace. And may we all together work on not chasing after things that are dust and vapor, but instead live lives in the fullness of Jesus Christ. Amen.